Hi, welcome to Wise Guys. We're looking at multiplication of algebraic expressions, and we're going to be solving more complicated questions. Here we have b plus 3c squared. So the first thing to do when you see something like that is change it to b plus 3c multiplied by b plus 3c. And you know that when you have something squared, all it is itself multiplied by itself. That's all. So now we're going to use the distributive principle. I'm going to take the b, first b, multiplied by the first b in the second bracket, and take this and multiply it by the 3c. So one step at a time, just backing up here. This becomes b times b. Then we put in our plus sign, and we take the b and multiply it by the 3c. So that becomes b times 3c. Now again, you always put in a plus sign between these multiplications. We go now to the second term in the first bracket, and we multiply it by the first term in the second bracket. So we have 3c times b. Then we take this second term in the first bracket and multiply it by the second term in the second bracket. Not forgetting we put a plus sign in there, and then we have 3c times 3c. So then let's clean this up a little bit. B times b, don't forget this is b to the 1 and b to the 1. We add our two exponents, so this becomes b squared plus 3 times b times c, and we write our letters alphabetically, so that's 3bc. Now here we have plus again, 3c times b, but it's written alphabetically, so it's 3bc. And we add, here we have 3 times 3, which is 9, and we have c to the 1 times c to the 1. So that is c squared. Now we take a look at our algebraic expression and see if we have any like terms. We've only got one b squared, we've only got one c squared, but we have these two terms with bc in it. So we can add these two terms. So we have b squared plus 3 and 3 is 6, so this becomes 6bc, and plus 9c squared. And that solves that question. Now, something a little more interesting. Well, I don't know if interesting is the right word, but harder. 2y minus 4 cubed. So you would write this as 2y minus 4 times 2y minus 4 times 2y minus 4. Now with something this long, you really need to just take it one step at a time. Try not to do two steps at once, because that's when it's easy to make an error. So I'm just going to deal with these first two brackets and leave this one sit alone. So I'm going to multiply 2y, just using the same distributive rule as I did before. 2y multiplied by 2y. We have 2y times 2y. And then I have plus 2y multiplied by minus 4. Then I go to the second term in the first bracket, not forgetting the plus sign there, plus minus 4 multiplied by 2y. So minus 4 multiplied by 2y. And again, another plus sign. Now we have plus minus 4 multiplied by minus 4. Now this whole thing is in a bracket. That's really important to remember, that bracket. And it is all multiplied by 2y minus 4. So now let's just clean up some of the stuff that's in this bracket, because it's just huge and you just need to clean it up. So the first two brackets, we multiply them together. 2 times 2 is 4. This is y to the 1 times y to the 1, so that becomes y squared. And then plus, we have 2y times minus 4. That becomes minus 8y. And for something like this, especially when you're first getting started, always just put this plus in and then deal with what's in the brackets. You can get rid of this later. When you're dealing with negatives, it's always important just to take it one step at a time. For the next one, we have plus. Now we have minus 4 times 2y, same as here, becomes, minus 8y. And we have plus minus 4 times minus 4, which is plus 16. Now this whole thing is multiplied by 2y minus 4. It's always important to remember that little thing at the back there, okay? Now let's just add these like terms. So here we have 4y squared. We have minus 8y and minus 8y. Those add up to minus 16y. And then we have plus 16. Now this then is multiplied by 2y minus 4. So we've got to this point. Now we still have to multiply this thing by this. So just take it one step at a time again. Start with this first one, multiply it by the 2y. So we have 4y squared multiplied by 2y. Then you take your 4y squared and multiply it by the minus 4. And don't forget to put your plus sign in there. So 4y squared multiplied by the minus 4. Now we go to the next one. Let's try a different colored pen. So we have, don't forget plus, minus 16y multiplied by 2y. And then we also have minus 16y multiplied by minus 4, but we have to put our plus sign in there, plus minus 16y multiplied by minus 4. And I think I have one more colored pen here for the last bit, which I'm going to write down here because I'm running out of room. I have this last term in this bracket here. The 16 then is multiplied by the 2y, so I'm going to have plus 16 multiplied by 2y. And then this 16 is also multiplied by the minus 4. Don't forget the plus, plus 16 multiplied by minus 4. That is a very long algebraic expression. So now let's add up some of this stuff, multiply some of this stuff together. Hopefully I don't run out of room here. 4y squared times 2y. This, don't forget this is y to the 1. This becomes 4 times 2 is an 8. Y squared times y to the 1 is y cubed. And I'm going to add, I have 4 times minus 4, which is a minus 16, and y squared. And I'm going to add, here we have minus 16 multiplied by 2, which is a minus 32, and y1 multiplied by y1, which is y squared. Then I'm going to add this minus 16y multiplied by minus 4. Minus 16 times minus 4 is 64, and we have 1y, and that's a positive 64, minus times the minus. Then we're going to add, now we're moving on to this one here. This is plus 16 multiplied by 2y, so that becomes 32y. All right, so 64, and whenever you're in the middle of a question and you think, oh my goodness, did I make an error there? Just go back and check. Make sure you're good. So here we go, and then we have plus, this is 16 times minus 4, which is a minus 64. Now, let's see if we can add this all up now and have a final line here. We have no other y cubes. No other y cubes. So the only term that's like this is 8y cubed, so we can just write it as 8y cubed. We have a y squared and a y squared. Minus 16 minus 32, that's a minus 48. So we write that as minus 48y squared. Now we have plus 64y plus 32y, which is 96, plus 96y. Then we have minus 64. Now, this is a very long question. It's important to go through it slowly and methodically and follow your distributive law. Have a good day. That was a presentation by Wise Guys.